Hi, I'm Gwen Cavanaugh, and this is Channel 10's Queen City Magazine, which is a brand new program and will be coming to you on the last Thursday of every month. For those of you who don't have a chance to see it at that time, it will be on the following Thursday as well, sort of a replay for you. Tonight, we have all kinds of interesting things happening. Our first interview will be with Phyllis Margolin, who, as you know, is one of our local artists, and a good artist at that. We'll also have a view and a talk with people on the former KFP, which is now Westar, and all the happenings that are going on down there. Joy Gardner, who presents workshops on death and loss, will be talking with another interviewer, and I'm sure there's a lot of interest there. We'll have a ski lesson with Stan Hawley up at Whitewater, and you all know that the powder's the best in BC at Whitewater, so you don't want to miss that. And the newspaper publishing business is really interesting, and Steen Jorgensen will be giving us the background on the Nelson Daily News and publishing that newspaper. So we hope that you'll tune in on Thursdays, or the last Thursdays of the month, and we hope you really enjoy this show tonight. Just to let you know what will be happening down the line is we intend to have, as part of our regular format, music items, sports items, regular interviews with local business people, and all kinds of other things. So make sure that you do tune in on the last Thursday. To start off, Margaret Schmidt, who's a local host of CKKC radio Wednesday morning talk show, is going to talk with Phyllis Margolin. As I mentioned earlier, Phyllis is a local area watercolor artist, and she's living in town at present. She used to live up at Argenta. She's living in town because she's going to be teaching some workshops here. So I'm sure that you'll all enjoy, especially you painting enthusiasts, this little interview with Phyllis Margolin.
Thank you, Gwen. In this segment of the program, we talk with well-known local artist Phyllis Margolin. She has had exhibits all over the Kootenays, and her work is very distinctive, very well-known, and very much liked by a lot of people. Phyllis, who is from Argenta, by the way, you've had a very interesting and varied career. Would you like to just mention some of the highlights, the things that are most in your mind as to what sticks out?
Well, I started out when I was 10 years old working with Arthur Lismer, the group of 7, and got scholarships to work with him. So that was pretty exciting at that age. And I went on to art school and working with Lismer for some time. And then I married and lived in the States after doing a lot of different things, including puppeteering, traveling with a puppet group, doing voice parts, emceeing, and so on. And in the States, I became president of Artists' Equity for the Midwest section, and that involved doing shows all over the country and moving them around and selecting the artists to participate and so on. They were mostly in the St. Louis area. So I showed in galleries there, but through Artists' Equity, showed in California and Florida, Montreal, and the East Coast, all over.
All this time you were painting?
I was painting and raising a family and being a housewife and doing a lot of other things, yes.
When did you come to this particular area, and what brought you here?
It's about 14 years now. I can't believe it's that long. Yes, I had family living in the area. My sister lived in Argenta. And I was up visiting once and thought I would like to sometime live there if the opportunity arose, and it did. And so I moved up. And it took a while to start absorbing the mountains, you know, to start feeling that I could paint mountains. So I did my garden and and my own landscaping and so on for a while, and just looked at the mountains, and finally I started painting them again.
Do you find that living here, we're a little bit out of the way, although we have a very artistic community. Do you find that that puts a crimp on the marketability of your paintings?
It makes it more difficult in a lot of ways. On the other hand, this is where I want to be and want to paint, so that's the essential. And getting to Vancouver galleries, getting to Calgary galleries is a lot of work, and people don't ever realize all the other details involved in painting and getting it produced and out in the public.
I think a lot of people might envy you because you seem to have the best of all worlds. You're a recognized artist and you do what you like to do best and you do it so well.
Oh, thank you. That part is enjoyable, I must admit.
The inspiration is here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes. And I have painted on the prairies. One that's behind us here, I think, is from the prairies. And I have a gallery there as well as this one in town and in Nelson. And I've had other galleries in other places, and that's one of the problems now. The galleries are having troubles with the general economy in some places, and it's hard to be at a distance in a gallery and have it closed and have your paintings held up.
Yes,
you see, which is a problem. So I'm supposed to be on the West Coast as well, and I'm just watching that a bit carefully right now. So this area, Nelson, has been very good to me, and this gallery has done well. And I'm happy to be in this area.
What influences your work? Did you start out in a certain style and then develop into the style that you now have?
I've always enjoyed being outside, and I work outside. Some of my snow scenes have involved my sitting in sleeping bags and everything else to be warm enough to be outside and do it. And I do work in the studio to bring work in, but I sketch all the time and paint outside and often do the bigger works in the studio. But I like landscape, and I have taught in Mexico, where I also at San Miguel de Allende, University of Mexico, and I did portraiture as well, and I enjoy that. But I just like here doing the landscapes.
Some people might say that your landscapes are very akin to the Group of Seven. Would you say that they influenced your painting, or is there one particular artist that really stands out in your mind as being influential in your work?
I would say Carl Schaefer, Canadian artist, and Charles Goldhammer. I studied in Toronto with them, and I have loosened up a lot since then, and I'm sort of getting wetter and looser some of the time. And every once in a while I feel I'd like to do a huge painting, and even some of these large ones are very demanding. It's a lot of work, and you have to work fast and make decisions very quickly. And when I've done a good painting, I'm tired. I know it's a good painting, but how tired I am in a way when it's finished. But and some of the other florals you'll see here, it was an attempt last spring to do some. The weather was so bad, and I had a show coming up, and I had to get some work done. So I brought branches and blooms inside and worked, and I quite enjoyed it. And I have 7 acres, and I've redone a lot of my garden now. I've gone from cabbages to flowers. So last year I did a whole perennial bed, and I have a lot of oriental poppies and a lot of things. So I'm hoping to get more floral work done.
Cabbages are not a great seller when it comes to paintings.
No.
Do you work primarily in watercolors? I understand that it's probably one of the hardest mediums to work in.
It's a very demanding media. I work in it. I teach watercolor workshops. I have done a lot of other things. I've worked in oils and encaustic, which is a media a lot of people are familiar with, and everything pastel. But watercolor is my love, really.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love this prairie scene that's behind us. It reminds me so much of where I grew up, and my eye immediately caught it when I came in.
This is the last of a whole series I did of prairies that were primarily in the Calgary Gallery that handles my work. But I must go back sometime and do some more.
The prairies have a fascination, I think, for people who see them once.
Right, you look for details. Here you have to cut out details a little bit. There's so much, and you simply cannot put it all in. It gets too confusing. and you get the mountain mists and the winds blowing and the clouds changing. It's very different. Out in the prairies, you get that sharpness.
Yes.
Of
Clarity.
clarity of light. And I was painting there once in March and wandering around in a blizzard, looking for something to paint. And I came across a tuft of little yellowed grass and some snow on a bit of plowed field, and it made a painting. You look for the small things there.
We just have a couple of minutes left, Phyllis, and I know you've got some plans, exciting plans for the rest of the year. Can you just outline those for us quickly?
Yes, I will be doing some workshops at David Thompson University. February the 6th, I'm starting a drawing class, which will go for 5 weeks. And that's partly to give the library a boost and let people know that it is open, that their reference books now are all there and available, and they have worked out a system of working with the city library so that you can go into the city library and request books that are at DTAC and get them out. Yes.
And you will be up there starting in February.
I will be up there starting in February, and I'm doing a watercolor workshop in February as well. Mm-hmm. And the information for all of these can be gotten through the Recreation Commission.
That's Regional Recreation Commission number 5. They have an office. You can call them if they need the number.
That's right.
Phyllis, it's been a delight finally meeting you and talking with you.
I enjoyed it.
Good luck with the rest of your
Thank you very much.
Artistic career.
Thank you.
Back to you, Gwen.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you too, Phyllis, especially for those beautiful paintings. KFP, or Westar Mills, is certainly a timely subject for Nelson area residents right now. Chilean Browning is going to be talking with Mayor Maglio and with Terry Jones of the Jones Boy Marina, and she's also going to be giving us a few shots of this site, the actual mill site. So sit back and enjoy these interviews.
Last October, the Westar sawmill closed permanently. Approximately 180 workers lost their jobs. Shortly after, Ritchie Brothers auctioneers purchased the site. A controversy has developed over who is responsible for cleanup. In fact, the Provincial Lands Branch has stated that Westar must clean up the foreshore before the lease can be transferred to Ritchie Brothers. We'll now turn to an interview with Terry Jones of Jones Boy Marine Limited. Jones Boys is looking at purchasing the mill site in order to set up a marina in Nelson. We're here today with Terry Jones at the marina in Kaslo. Terry, I understand that Jones Boys Marine Limited is looking at buying the Westar site in Nelson.
We've been giving it an awful lot of thought, and we'd sure like to buy the site down there.
For the purpose of developing another marina?
Yes, we see Nelson as a place where there's a real pent-up desire for boating. It seems so sad that there's not a marina down there. We look at that site with all the buildings on it in mind as something we could, for our type of business, couldn't afford to build elsewhere. And the fact that they're there, we could just put virtually all the inventory we have here at Kaslo right under one big roof. It would make a real nice complex for what we do.
And I understand you're hoping to build a restaurant as well.
Yes, we're what's called the Pico deck down there. It's a 4-year-old steel structure out over the water. It's about 125 feet long with a cement deck on it. We feel that just a beautiful little bar and restaurant put onto that structure, it's something a restaurateur could never afford to build, but the fact that it's there, it would really make a beautiful setup. And off that, we'd run a smaller marina, say 100 boats, and just put it north of that so people would walk out past the restaurant and onto their boats. It would make just a real super setting for the deal down there.
What exactly is holding you back from purchasing the Westar site?
Well, 2 things. One is money, of course. The Kootenays isn't the place where people like myself have made it the last few years. And the other thing is the tremendous problems involved with the property. For example, there's the cleanup problems. There's we've been talking to the assessment board, and even with a low purchase price, they still feel that it does have a value. And me holding other lands around, I sort of have to agree with the assessment board, and the price is, it is undervalued, and it is probably worth what they say. However, buying it and paying something like $100,000 taxes a year plus extra $25,000 for easements, it just makes it a awful expensive proposition to get into.
I understand that you have this marina up for sale. So you would have to sell this before you looked at buying the Westar site?
As I said in the Nelson Daily News interview, dollar-wise, we have people that are so excited about the project we have projected to put into Nelson that dollar-wise we have backers that are willing to do it. My personal feelings are that with that we just have so much to look after, and to just be like 45 miles apart. If there's a problem here and I'm in Nelson, we just have problems. I just think personally it's just too mentally a problem area to get into at this time. That's the thing.
Terry, do you have any potential buyers for the marina here?
Yes, we had 3 actually people very, very interested in the marina last fall. With purchasing that in mind, we've lowered the price, and we think that this is priced very competitively right now. However, all of the buyers that have expressed an interest in the Kaslo location are just, they've always been scared of, quote, the Jones boys' name. They feel that, and people have talked to them about it in the area, that we've been here so long and the Jones boys' name's so well known. They feel that we'd be a major competitor, even though we don't feel that that'd be a problem, because basically here we'd be selling a marina and a resort and not a boat sales facility. But now with if we have a location such as the Nelson location to move our Jones Boys Marine boat business to, I think that people would feel more easy about buying this, because we'd be 45 miles away instead of 12 miles away at our Woodbury location.
If all of the unknowns with the Westar site, such as who is responsible for cleanup, once all of that is clarified and you have it in writing, will you make the move to buy the site?
Sitting here on a cold end of January day when, quite frankly, we have bills that aren't paid and different things, it leans one way, but as soon as boat sales start and the buds come out on those trees, I think we'll be there doing everything we can to put a deal together.
I was first approached by the Mr. Ritchie of the Ritchie Brothers. First, they came to my office and said that they had bought the property from Westar, and they were willing to offer the 20 acres of land, more or less, to the city for $300,000. But nothing was ever discussed about any cleanup of any buildings that could remain standing that the city were not interested in until the city made the official offer to them that they would accept the offer on the conditions that I explained a moment ago. I felt, as far as the city was concerned, when this offer was made to us, it would be good for the city to have it and have industrial property available to any developer. And that was the only reason that the city got involved, actually. But then when the stipulations came up that we're going to be responsible for any buildings left on site, that we didn't want, it would be the responsibility of the city to clear the site. But the thing that concerned us more than anything else was the foreshore lease that Westar had with the government. And the sawmill and the burner, and I believe some part of the even the boiler house could have been built on that foreshore lease, which would have to be cleaned up. And from what I gathered, the responsibility was put onto the shoulders of Bridgeport, who was the company that the Ritchie brothers go under. And from my indications were that if those they would just sell whatever they was able to sell at the auction, and the rest would revert to the city. And I could see the city spending an awful lot of money to clear out the foreshore lease. It wouldn't have been so bad for the actual land that that Westar owned, which was transferred to Ritchie Brothers, but it was the foreshore lease that concerned myself and members of council. I did discuss that with the Ministry of Lands, Parks, and Recreation there in regard to the lease, and they assured me that the lease was with Westar, and they would be responsible for the cleanup. But the indications were with us is that that maybe whatever deal Westar made with Bridgeport, that they would have to take that responsibility themselves. So I don't know, and this is something that we couldn't ever get clarified.
I understand that the CPR also owns property which the sawmill.
Well, yeah, some of that property, some of those buildings are on CPR right away, which they had lease with the CPR, or the Marathon Realty, who was an arm of the CPR, the real estate arm of the CPR. And I believe they were paying, for the land they were leasing, they were paying in the neighborhood of around $25,000 a year for leasing that particular piece of land that was on the right of way. And these things are another thing that would have to be negotiated with with Marathon if the city had bought the land.
How do you feel about the Jones boys' offer to purchase the land?
Well, I would say if they were in a position and able to buy the land and develop it as what they say they'd like to have a marina down there, I think it'd be a wonderful thing for the city here. And this is what we're looking for, is private enterprise to develop the foreshore as far as we're concerned.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain the position that the city's in.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Maglio. Thank you, Terry Jones, and also Chilean Browning. Death and the loss we feel is something that none of us can avoid. Ken Gould interviews Joy Gardner, who's a local author and counselor who leads workshops on death and loss.
Good evening. My name is Ken Gould, and I'm here tonight with Joy Gardner. Joy is a counselor who's just recently moved to Nelson from Victoria. Joy, I understand that you're going to be offering a workshop in March called Living with Death and Loss. It's a fairly popular topic these days, and I'm wondering if you could tell us a bit about how you first got involved with that study.
Sure. It's a very personal kind of thing for me. The first encounter that I had with death, I had at the age of 13 when my brother committed suicide. He was just 19 then. And my parents, of course, blamed themselves, and it just threw them into a complete turmoil. And so I found myself having to comfort them and at the same time deal with my own feelings around that. And I think to some degree the helplessness that I probably felt then, the desire to be more comforting than I had any way of being, might have laid some of the early seeds for my desire to do this kind of work. And then when I was about 26, 27, my first husband, who's the father of my first son, died in an automobile accident. Mm-hmm. And that was a sudden death that, again, it was very overwhelming for me and quite disorienting. And I certainly understood then the need to have people that you can talk to when you're in that kind of a crisis. Mm-hmm. Because most people are frightened by that kind of thing, and they have no idea what to say to somebody who's experiencing a crisis in their life like that. And then the third major death in my life was when I was about 30, and I gave birth to a child who I'd carried for 10 months, and she was born dead. And I was just crazy for a year after that. It was something that I really didn't know how to cope with.
Mm-hmm. I'm aware that you studied with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross.
Right.
Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, that really ties in because I knew that losing my child that time was something that I was still carrying around with me in some way many years later, 4 or 5 years later. And then I picked up a magazine and I read an interview with Elizabeth where she was saying that if a child dies, that it's good if the parents can prepare the child's body for the coffin or whatever. And as if they were going to be putting the child to bed, right? To brush its hair and put on pajamas and all that sort of thing. When I read that, I thought to myself, you see, what actually happened was that the child was taken away immediately, and I never even saw her body. I have no idea what she looked like. And so I thought to myself, what would it have been like if my husband and I had taken that baby and done that? I thought, oh God, we would have cried and cried. It would have been horrible. And then I thought, oh, that's just what we needed. We needed to face our emotions then. And if we had done that, instead, what happened was that I spent the next year just little by little those emotions coming out. And if we had done it all at once, I think that it would have been a lot easier on both of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So did you eventually go and work with her?
Oh, yeah, right. So after I read this interview with her, then I heard that she was going to be speaking in Grand Forks. And so I went to hear her. And I was so impressed with her that the people I've studied with have always been people that I admired as individuals who were really honest and I felt were very special people. And Elizabeth was like that. And I almost didn't care what she was teaching. I just wanted to study with her. And so I went down to California and I did the 5-day workshop that she gives, which is called Life, Death, and Transition. And then after that, I came back up here, and then I went down again for 3 months to take another workshop. And also, what was being offered at her place, Shanti Nilaya, at that time, was a psychodrama workshop. And I did that, and in the psychodrama workshop, I replayed, acted out. It's like you write your own script, and then people act it out for you. So I replayed the birth and death of my child. And this time I said, I want my child to be brought to me. And at first they said no, but then they relented and brought me the child, and they had this beautiful doll that was actually, it looked like it had a birth defect or something. And they let me hold this child, and I must have held it for half an hour and cried and wept and gone through all the grief that I should have gone through when the baby was born dead.
So that helped you to finish that experience?
Yeah. And so now, the workshop that I offer, Living with Death and Loss, is a way of helping people to what I call finish their unfinished business.
Yeah, I noticed that the title is Living with Death and Loss, is that the workshop is dealing with other things besides dying.
Yeah, that in fact when a marriage ends or when someone finds out that they're going to have to have a kidney operation or something serious happens in their life, then they go through a grieving process. It's very similar to a death. And so the workshop helps people to go through their feelings about these events in a real supportive environment. with other people who are experiencing similar things, and everybody helping each other along the way.
So you wouldn't necessarily have to be experiencing a death in your family in order to benefit from this workshop.
In fact, another thing that's quite common is the feeling that many people have that they didn't get the parent that they wanted, that they feel a great loss in the parenting that they received, and that there's a grieving that people need to do about that. So it covers a lot of territory.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that the details about Joy Gardner's workshop is that it's offered on the 16th and 17th of March. And if you would like to register or you would like more information about this workshop, the phone number to call is 352-9990. And now, back to our program.
We all know that Whitewater Ski Area has the best snow, powder snow, greatest snow there is in all of British Columbia. So, on the lighter side, let's trot up to Whitewater and watch Stan Hawley while he takes a ski lesson.
Make sure they tighten up. We're not going to lose them all. Right? Never get nice and easy. They're going to be bent when you get back. Well, you took out the $1 insurance fee for each. Oh, you did. With me, they charge $100. Sure thing. Sure thing. How much do you weigh? 190. 190. And you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Oh, probably an intermediate. Make that very rough. Rough? Yeah. Do you know how this thing works? No. Yeah, I'll show you. It's pretty basic. Just put the toe piece in first. Step down. You want to get out? Just push down on this lever back here. Alright. Like that. Sometimes you might fall. If you come out of the toe piece, your body's going to look like that. Yeah. So just push down here. And you're ready to step back. Okay. Alright? Yep. Good job. Thank you. He doesn't know what he's doing. I didn't know that. I think the ski was done just as correctly.
It is. You just haven't done the right thing to the binding.
All right. What did I do wrong?
Are you filming this?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, all good. We'll go for the works then. Okay. In your heel pieces like this. Yeah. You have to push it down like that. Oh, I just stopped from doing it. I didn't do it right. Yeah. Make sure the bottom of your boot is straight. Okay. Robert? Mm-hmm. Rotate, lady.
Hard man into his skis, huh? Okay, next. Make it harder for us.
Okay, Lord, I'll come back with you.
What's it look like when you get it mastered? Oh, rotate. You can look long enough to hill, right?
The newspaper publishing business is fascinating. Steen Jorgensen is the publisher of the Nelson Daily News, and Phil Pearsall, who is the manager of the Nelson Chamber of Commerce, is going to talk with him about that publishing business and just how he got started in it.
Thanks, Gwen. My guest tonight on Queen City Magazine is Steen Jorgensen, publisher for the Nelson Daily News. Steen, thanks for joining us on Queen City Magazine tonight.
Welcome to the news.
Steen, this is actually the first edition of Queen City Magazine and our first look at important business people in the community, people that sort of make things tick and happen. I know that you're quite involved in making things tick and happen. In fact, you were just mentioning that sometimes you get choice phone calls that sort of set your day off in the wrong tone.
That's right.
Because you're always in the limelight, so to speak, as publisher. And as a paper, you're dealing with the public all the time. Tell me, how did you start off as I'm sure as a publisher, where did it all start for you?
Well, originally my background is I graduated from what was then the Kootenay School of Art in Nelson. I'm originally from Port Alberni.
Let's hear it from Port Alberni. No.
And after graduation, I kind of worked around a little bit in Vancouver. And a fellow by the name of Peter Reben, who used to work here, who's since deceased, needed a junior salesman. So he was in Vancouver interviewing people, and to make a long story short, that's how I got the job as a junior trainee.
Junior trainee here at the Nelson Daily News?
At the Daily News, yeah.
What year was that, Steve?
That was 1966.
1966, so we're looking almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, very close to
20 years.
Yeah.
Where did you work from junior salesman?
I worked for about 3, 4, 5 years as a salesman, gradually working my way up, and until I became retail advertising manager. And at that point, 2 years later, the company was sold to Sterling Newspapers. And they were looking for someone who would like to run the paper. So they asked me if I would take on the job, and that was 1974.
And that was as publisher, Steve?
As publisher at the time, yes.
Have you always been publisher then from 1974 here at Indiana?
I had a two-year stint in retailing in town where my wife and I went into business. And after those 2 years, we then went to Vancouver and worked at the corporate office of Sterling and for a short time. And then the opportunity came to come back to Nelson, and we grabbed it.
And you grabbed the chance to come back and be publisher. Steve, being a publisher is, I imagine, can be quite a mentally trying job, in that you're, like you say, being a media, Nelson Daily News being a very profile newspaper. Can you relate any couple of stories that we can share with our viewing audience tonight that maybe are funny and maybe a little serious?
For stories, you really should talk to the news department. I think our news department probably has more anecdotes about people because they deal directly with the news side, and that's where you get the most reaction from people. I basically deal with the business side of the operation. And there were times when there were funny things happening in business, but the last 2 years, I don't think anybody thinks that there's funny things going on in business. So there really isn't any anecdotes on the business end of it right now that I could tell you about.
Well, maybe I can put it this way: what do you find exciting about being publisher?
Well, the exciting thing about being publisher at this newspaper is that we live in a community that's varied. We have many different kinds of people here, and the job changes from day to day. There's always new things happening. We're constantly in a change of flux. When I come in the morning, I'm not sure what's going to happen. As a matter of fact, this morning before I arrived at work, I did get one of those classic telephone calls from someone who was very upset at the paper and wanted to talk to me about it. And I believe that you have to be accessible to those people. And so I think we worked his problem out, and hopefully we worked it out.
In your position as publisher, what is are you what you would call the boss? Are you the overseer of the operation of the newspaper in Nelson?
That's correct, yeah. I answer to the corporate office in Vancouver. They give me almost complete autonomy to run the business as I see fit. And of course, if I don't run it properly, then I expect that they'll get someone in who will run it properly.
So they will give you a nice little phone call, but I'm sure not.
Yeah, they don't do that.
But Steve, looking over the years and evaluating your time as publisher, what are some of the what you would call sweet moments? Well, what makes being a publisher, not only the fact that it's a local community and that you have autonomy here, but can you remember any sort of memorable occasions of being a publisher?
Well, memorable occasions are many, and what to me is most memorable is when we put out a newspaper that has everything in it. You know, every once in a while we put out a paper that's got a good amount of advertising, and it's got lots of local news, and it's delivered on time, and we have no complaints, and it's an outstanding product for that day. And that's my biggest sense of of enjoyment is to see us put out a good newspaper.
Complete accomplishment, then.
Complete accomplishment, yeah.
What, being in the newspaper business and times are changing and high technology as it is, what do you see as a publisher, what do you see the future direction for the newspaper industry?
Well, a couple of years ago, everyone predicted that newspapers were going to fall by the wayside because of technology. Everyone assumed that computer terminals would be in people's homes, that they would get all their information from the television set, and the newspapers would be out of business. And a couple of years ago, that was the indicator. Since then, newspapers seem to have a rebirth in many areas. People are finding that they're convenient. They provide information that people can readily take. They can pick the paper up when they want. They can read it when they want. There's usually more in-depth stories and news items that they want from the newspaper. So I'm very optimistic about the newspaper business. As a matter of fact, our corporation, Sterling Newspapers, is very enthusiastic about newspapers. They're still looking at new markets. They're in the communication business to stay, and I'm very happy about that.
Steen, yourself, let's maybe get into a little of your personal life. I don't mean personal, but you're married, family. Maybe you can share some of that with us.
I'm married to a wonderful lady who
should be pleased to hear that.
She stuck with me right from the beginning when I was the junior salesman with one torn shirt and one tie that I could afford, and living on pineapple and rice 2 days of the month. Things were pretty bad. And she had enough faith in me to stick it out for all these years. And we have a very nice daughter, Kirsten. She's going to be 17. So I've been very fortunate in having a support group behind me when it comes to my work. There are days when your work gets you down, like your job must get you down. And when you come home and you have that support group, that's very helpful.
It's very nice. Some of your, I know that you can't have all work and not have some play. I understand, Steen, that you also have some play, and that's the Kootenay Lake Yacht Club.
Oh yeah, you're talking
world famous Steen.
You're talking about my passion. The Kootenay Yacht Club disbanded some years ago, and a group of us got together, reorganized it. We now have a membership roll of over 50. We have a beautiful lake. We live in a wonderful setting. The lake isn't being utilized as it should, so why not put some sailboats on it and enjoy some good company, which we have been for the last few years.
Steen, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for coming to the news.
Thank you, Steen, and thank you, Phil. Nelson has a number of young people visiting from other parts of Canada and from India right now. We're going to meet and hear from them, as well as from Mike Burstein, who is the Canada Youth Organization representative.
Good evening. My name is Mike Burstein, and I'm the group leader for the Canada World Youth Exchange Program that's currently taking place in Nelson. I'd like to take a few minutes to explain a little bit about the program to you. We have a group of 14 participants between the ages of 17 to 21 who are currently living and working as volunteers in Nelson. Half of the group are Canadians who come from various regions of Canada, and the other half are Indian participants who come from various regions of India. The participants are here to learn about the community, and one of the ways in which that happens is that they live with host families as a pair, one Canadian and one Indian participant, and they work in various different projects in the community. For example, there are some participants working as volunteers at the cable TV station, the Women's Center at Selkirk College, doing a research project for the city with Bob Inwood of the Heritage Committee, etc. We are about halfway through our program here in Nelson, and everybody seems to have adapted really well to the cold weather. And seem to be enjoying, I think, the winter activities here in Nelson. We've already spent 3 months in India doing the same kind of thing, living in a village, working on various work placements, and also we did a group work project while we were there, building a school, which we completed. One of the things that we would like to do, or one of our aims, is that we try and get involved as much as possible in community activities. And we feel that that's one of the ways that the participants best can learn about any community. As a result, one of the things that we require to be able to run this program well, of course, is the cooperation of the people in the community. And something that we would like to do as a way of giving something back to the community for all the cooperation and help that we receive from various organizations, churches, using facilities, etc., is give something back. And something that we're planning to do that is to put on a culture show for the whole region of the West Kootenays. We have also two other groups in the region which comprise 14 participants as well in each one of the respective groups. There's a group in Kaslo and a group in Roslyn. And of course, all three groups are set up in a similar fashion where participants are billeted in host families as a pair and working as volunteers. And what we're planning on doing is putting on a culture show for the whole region, all three groups, all 42 participants, and inviting everybody from the three communities and from any other community as well. The culture show is meant to provide for the community an opportunity to share with us some of the experiences that we've had, some of the things that we've learned in the program through dance, through songs, drama, skits, comedy, etc. And we really hope that people in the community will come and share this time with us. The date for this culture show is February the 16th. It's a Saturday night. It will take place at Stanley Humphreys High School in Kaslo. We've chosen Kaslo as the place to hold this since it is in the middle of the two communities and most convenient for people to reach. And we're really looking forward to putting on this show, and we really hope that people in the community come out and have some fun, bring their families, children, friends, and have an opportunity to share with us some of the things that we've done, some of the things that we've learned, and some of the things that we've done both in India and here in Nelson. There will be further announcements on the radio and in the newspaper, and an upcoming interview with participants on the local radio station. Also look for upcoming events on your local cable TV channel on programs that the participants are currently working on about the Canada World Youth Exchange here in Nelson. Thank you.
To complete tonight's show, we're going to get you all revved up for Snowfest, which is coming up soon, February 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'd like you to sit back and enjoy once more last year's festivities and get yourself all geared up for all the fun that's going to be happening this year. We'd like to put a plug in for Lloyd Miskimen, who's our 1985 Snowfest president, and he's doing really a great job. So sit back and enjoy.
And now the moment you've been waiting for. We're going to ask His Honor Louis Maglio and George Reitermeyer of the Spokane Chamber of Commerce to begin the fireworks that signal the beginning of Snowfest. They're going to touch off the very first rocket. So they better put their hard hats on, get ready to go here. Anybody bring any matches?
here, Bill. No way. You got a big second competition. Yeah. Well, you're in big trouble, I'll tell you. Okay. We're going to run like the wind. Well, good luck to you. No competition at all. Okay. We're going to knock these guys out. We want you! Hey, look at that.
You got your shaving first? Eh?
Hey, where do we throw these guys in?
Where is it? Hey, we're media. No. Hey, we're media. Jesus Christ. Oh, let's go, guys. Let's go. Set ourselves up here.
Watch your steps. Lock me, lock them up.
Oh, no. Yeah, throw them in it. There we are.
Doesn't that look like fun? I hope to see you downtown and around the various areas where Snowfest is happening this year, so make sure you're there. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to our very first program of Queen City Magazine, and we certainly hope that you'll join us again the last Thursday of every month. Thank you and good night.